Hi, I'm Mel.
And I'm Janelle.
And this is The Murder Mamas.
The Murder Mamas.
Welcome. It's been a while.
A while. As my dad would say.
Yes. We took over a month off, I think, right? 2 months.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
We're back.
We needed a break. I haven't listened to a podcast in like weeks.
I know, you told me.
Yeah. I've been grooving to some music. And that put me in a better mood, I think, too.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need a little break.
When you listen to nothing but people being brutally murdered, it's not a fun time. I've been reading a lot of creepy, like, psychological thriller books.
Ooh,
and I think I need to stop.
Yeah.
I need a different sort of
You don't realize it. You're sucked in. Yeah. And then you're like, now that I've stopped, I'm like, damn, I used to just listen to that shit all day long.
Yeah.
Like, as I'm cleaning, as I'm driving, as I'm sitting there with sports. Like, so that was a nice break. I'm refreshed. I think you are refreshed.
Are you going to speak for me?
No. Are you refreshed?
Sure.
No.
I mean, sure.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I've been reading a lot of psychological thrillers, so I'm refreshed in a different way.
Yeah, I guess.
I've read like 5 books this year.
Have you really?
It's January.
That's
18th.
Good. Yeah.
Well, I listened to 2. Does that count? I feel like that counts.
Why not?
Yeah. Is that crazy?
I need to start listening to books.
I did one book. This is what we need to talk about. Books. I read a book, Layla, by Colleen Hoover. Mm-hmm. She's like a very divisive author. Either you love her or you hate her. I've only read this one book.
Okay.
There's ghost sex in the book.
What?
It is fucking wild. So.
That's amazing.
I recommend it.
Okay.
Just for that.
The ghost sex?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an interesting read.
Okay.
That's how I ended 2023, was reading that book. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and then I read The Nothing Man, which was about a serial killer.
Yeah.
And I was like, this feels like true. Like, it's too close. Mm-hmm. But that one was interesting. Recommend that one, too.
Okay. So, cool.
Yeah.
We'll put those in the links in the show notes.
Sure you will. All right.
Okay. So tonight we are going to talk
footsie. I just stretch my legs out.
We are going to talk about, what are we talking about? Gypsy Rose.
Are you fucking for real?
Blanchard, but I don't think we're allowed to call her Blanchard anymore because I think she may have dropped that and now her last name is Lee.
Gypsy Rose.
Gypsy Rose.
Good old Gypsy Rose.
Just Gypsy Rose.
Who's getting that fire D.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. You said Lee. D rhymes with Lee.
Yeah.
That's where I was going.
It's true. Avery has a lot of rhyming words, too, that she does.
I'm a 7-year-old. Here we are.
Okay. So we're going to talk about Gypsy Rose and her story and let you know all about it. We both watched some documentaries. And now we're going to have a conversation.
I
should edit that out.
We're conversating. Yeah, so we both watched The Act on Hulu, which came out a few years ago. Yeah. This is all brought on by, as I'm sure everyone is aware, Miss Gypsy Rose is out of prison.
Goodbye.
And she is living her best life.
Yeah, she really is.
And I struggle with this because, like, she paid her dues, right?
She did.
She served the terms of her sentence. She was she got a lot of therapy while she was in prison.
Oh, yeah, she excelled.
She did well. She did everything she needed to do. But also I feel very weird that we're, like, glorifying a murderer.
Well, she didn't actually murder.
I mean, she planted the seed and planned it.
She did, for
and
sure.
I know that she didn't feel like she had any other option, and I can see why. Mm-hmm. But it feels very weird.
Yeah.
To me.
I get that sensation, too. I can understand that.
So I struggle with that post her release. Like, yes, girl, like, you do it, but, like,
yeah, you still did something really bad.
There was a clip of her on, I think, The View, where she had to say out loud, like, no, murder is wrong. Like, murders bad.
I think I have.
And I was like,
yes.
what the fuck kind of world are we living in where she's the moral compass here, saying like murder is wrong on national TV.
Right.
It was so weird. And I was like, this makes me feel icky.
Yeah.
But I do find her case extremely interesting. And I thought the act was a very, very good show.
Yeah. I
enjoyed it.
My mom and I watched the act together when I was out in California. There we go. So, yeah, we watched it together, and my mom, I think, was fascinated by it, too. She couldn't stop. She's like, you want to watch another one? Okay, let's do it.
I mean, you watch them just, like, back to back. But I felt like it was acted very well.
I thought they did. The girl who plays Gypsy was amazing, I thought.
Joey King?
Yeah.
So good, right?
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Mm-hmm. I wonder... For me, as I watch the show, do we kind of want to go episode by episode, or do we want to talk about real Gypsy? Well, briefly.
Let's talk about briefly her.
Okay. So I'm going to let you.
Okay. So she was born in 1991. And when she was a baby, Dee Dee, her mother, claimed her daughter had sleep apnea. And then that kind of spiraled everything that happened from there. So she would take her to the doctor for little things, make up things, over-treat her with prescriptions, that kind of thing.
I just am so, like, saddened with how no one protected her.
Right.
You know?
And that doctor who was questioning everything, I think it was female, but I think it was male in real life.
It was.
Yeah, okay.
And it was a different specialist as well.
Right, okay. Yeah. So she knew it. The doctor knew, like, it was wrong and that she needed to do help, but she never did anything. Or the guy didn't, I guess. The girl in the Hulu documentary is the doctor, and she kept asking questions and questions and then never fucking did anything.
Yeah, she's also the mom in Never Have I Ever.
Yeah. I like her.
I do too.
Yeah.
I actually just got done watching Fargo.
Yes.
The season 5 of Fargo.
I haven't watched.
And the aunt or the cousin from Never Have I Ever is in that episode of Fargo, and she's like an Indian woman talking with a Minnesota accent.
Yeah.
I'm fucking here for it. I love her. Okay, she's gorgeous.
I've watched Fargo, but I'm like 3 episodes behind. So.
She's gorgeous.
Okay.
She's the cop, the lady cop.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah.
She's so pretty.
Yeah, she is pretty. I like her a lot.
Okay, so there's a little bit about like backstory. Everyone knows everything about Gypsy, so like, how much are we going to rehash that?
Right.
But we're going to talk about the act.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So episode 1 is called Something in French. Bitch, you try.
Nope.
Something in French.
Yep.
La Maison du Bon Réveil.
Sure.
Can't tell me I'm wrong. If you
I
don't
cannot
know.
tell you you're wrong.
All right. So in this episode, it opens with Dee Dee and Gypsy arriving in a new neighborhood.
Yes.
In Springfield, Missouri.
Yep.
They pull up to this house and there's like a huge... Are you done texting?
No, not yet.
Okay, well, go ahead and finish your text.
Now I'm done.
Okay. They pull up to the house and there's a huge, like... wheelchair ramp at the front, and it's a little house on a cul-de-sac, and it was built for them
specifically for
Gypsy by Habitat for Humanity. I couldn't think of what it was.
Yeah.
So it's a pink house. I wonder if the house is pink in real life.
I think it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
So that's how it opens, and this was in 2008. So I don't know, like, how did they get Habitat for Humanity to build them a house?
Yeah, I don't know. She is a master manipulator. That's all I have to say. The mom. I mean, I don't understand. There's no way I would be able to get all of that done. Like, I don't know how she did that. But she obviously, I think she believed herself so much that it spewed on to everybody else.
Yeah, like...
Like, she believed that Gypsy was sick. I think she truly did believe that Gypsy was sick.
I don't know.
No? Because, like, my mom was like, oh, they're doing it for the money. I'm like, it's not for the money. She didn't do it for the money. She did it for the fame, maybe, and for the attention. But I don't think it was done for the money specifically. She had another mental illness behind that.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's how that episode opens. And, like, it's getting, you know, them getting acquainted with their house. And then you meet the girl next door, Lacey.
Yeah.
Or from across the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Lacey. And I feel like that immediately sets the scene for, like, Gypsy to be done with Dee Dee.
Oh, yeah,
She's
for
like,
sure.
Dee Dee, we're done.
Well, she's already, like, what, 15, 16 at this point?
So
Her mom,
2008.
I don't know how to do math in my head.
1991 to 2008 is 17.
17.
But her mom had lied about her age. So she was telling her she was how old?
She was born in 93, and then she changed it to 95.
So she would have been, what, in 2008? 12? Something like that.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, so just her not knowing her birthday is insane.
Wild.
Yeah.
Why?
Like, she could not prove what her real birthday was. She didn't know how to do that. Okay.
The amount of trauma is almost, like, unbelievable.
Right.
Which is why I feel so conflicted and I struggle so hard with, like, we're glorifying a murderer, but also, like, she was put through so much.
Her mom took away her life, did not let her experience school, sports, relationships,
Her health.
her health. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say that she did her time and she still did something that's inexcusable, but fuck, her mom did her just as bad her whole entire life.
Yeah.
Like, she never had a choice.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Yeah. So we meet Lacey, and Lacey is very kind, like so kind to Gypsy.
Yeah.
Which is very nice. But Lacey's mom is a real one. And she has red flags about Dee Dee.
Right.
But Dee Dee master manipulates her. I was impressed with how she won her over.
I was too.
So Lacey gives Gypsy Rose, I completely forgot her name. She gives her, like, puts makeup on her. And that to me is like, she feels like she has a friend.
Yes.
She's getting to do something, like, mature enough for her actual age. Like, not being forced to speak in that voice and, like, be a baby.
Right.
You know? And it's like the seed gets planted.
Yeah.
You know?
You can tell.
Yeah. Like, just
then.
watching, you can tell. They go to the mall in this episode, and Dee Dee steals a necklace with Gypsy, which Mel, the mom from across the street, sees. And then she's like, nah, you're not using your disabled daughter to steal. Like, she's red
calling
flags
her out,
even more. Which then causes Dee Dee to have to, like, go on the defense.
Sure.
And so Dee Dee's on the defense, and she's like, no, like, that's not what you think. She just is a girl, and we don't have money, and blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, oh, let's have a party at our house for all the new neighbors. We'll do, like, a real gumbo.
Right.
And it works, I guess.
Yeah.
It wins them over, but Gypsy does something she had never done before. She defies her mother by eating sugar.
She does.
And earlier in the episode, Dee Dee makes a huge deal about Gypsy not being able to eat sugar because she's allergic, in air quotes, to sugar.
Even though she drinks, what, Ensure or something, which is full of sugar.
Which is what the doctor says.
Like, which, yeah, exactly. The doctor's like, but you drink Ensure.
Oh, I mean, we didn't even talk about that. So, Gypsy's not allowed to eat food by mouth.
Yes.
Her mom feeds her through a feeding tube, which is so fucked up.
Yeah, it is really fucked up.
So
She doesn't get to experience food, like, at all. That's another thing she took away. That whole thing.
I do love a few episodes later when Gypsy is, like, rebelling every night. We'll get there. Yeah. But, like, I love that where she's just chugging soda.
As she should. She's 17.
So funny. Gypsy tastes the frosting of a cupcake at the party. And Dee Dee freaks out, rushes her to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's like this whole thing. And she hears the doctor telling her mom. But, like, I think she's not sure she hears the doctor.
Yeah, I don't think she realizes what she's hearing.
Your daughter is not allergic to sugar. You're feeding her something that's filled with sugar, like you just said.
Right.
And, like, she's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing, she's not having an allergic reaction.
And why is that not a good thing?
Well, also,
like, that would be like, yes, my daughter's not having an allergy. This is amazing.
When she licks the sugar, she gives her the EpiPen. Like, could you imagine being injected with, like, it's adrenaline, right? Or like, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like, could you imagine
not needing it?
Not needing that and, like, the side effects that would have? It's just insane to me.
Yeah.
It's insane. But the episode ends with you see that Dee Dee's plan worked.
Yeah.
And that Mel is coming around. And so Mel shows up at the hospital to, like, bring her wallet or something.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the ending of the episode.
Yeah.
So that was episode 1, which hooked me. And I was like, how true is this? You know?
I think it was pretty good. Like, it was, I mean, obviously there's some dramatic parts in there, but it seemed like it went with the story, like, you know, step by step. Or
I mean, like, did it dramatize it more? I feel like it sort of didn't play on everything.
I don't know. I don't think it played on everything either. It probably wasn't enough, but I'm saying, like, certain things they made more dramatic than it needed to be. But yeah, I think it was pretty good, like, on target. So it opens with her sneaking sugary foods and looking at her teeth and seeing how disgusting they are, because did she even brush her teeth? Like, I don't understand.
No, she does. She's brushing, but she's eating so much.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Remember, like, she's drinking and eating sugar, which I thought was weird. Like, Dee Dee had to have known for how controlling she was. Like, that's where I'm like, how did she not realize that this what was causing the issue? But I think that plus here we're going to learn about something that I feel like they didn't. I don't remember if they touched on this a lot on the show, but, like, Dee Dee had her get a surgery. First, she had Botox injected into her salivary glands so that she would not produce saliva because she choked on it and would aspirate, is what she told doctors.
Which is absolutely not true.
No.
At all.
Not at all. But went so far as when the Botox was, like, not working, she had a doctor perform a surgery to remove certain salivary glands from Gypsy so that she wouldn't create saliva, which is really important for your mouth health. Like, if you have a dry mouth, it's already going to cause you teeth issues. So I think that plus the sugar just destroys her mouth.
Which it did. I mean, it was bad. Her teeth were bad. But not so bad for what her mom ended up having her.
I know.
So
I like how in the episode she goes next door or across the street. She goes into their house and Lacey's there with, like, her girlfriends who are older, you know, and the girl's like, "What is wrong with your mouth?" It's so fucked up.
It is fucked up.
Oh, so mean.
Yeah, it is fucked up.
But we also know that from this episode that there's a doctor who is raising suspicions.
Yes.
And we get a visit from CPS. That social worker was not fucking around.
No.
They were like...
But, like, I don't understand how it just slipped through.
I'm not sure either.
Like, wouldn't they have to look at her medical records and all this kind of stuff? If you're going to complain to someone about CPS, they better know the entire situation if you're going to try and take someone's child away from them.
That's where I feel like this was like a little more dramatized. I know CPS
Probably.
didn't do anything.
No.
But
then how do you know what's really going on if she's a master manipulator? We've already decided that.
Yeah.
So she can obviously manipulate the CPS worker as well.
The CPS worker, I mean, at least as depicted on the show, was like very no nonsense.
She was
like, get out of get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that just another way that she would abuse her for. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. She would shave her head to make her look like she was constantly getting like treatments and like more sickly. And Dee Dee would force her to use a wheelchair all the time.
All the time, even in their house.
Even inside, knowing she could walk.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, that's rough.
There was another thing I was thinking of that Dee Dee would do.
She tied her hands to the bed. Is that a different...
That's a different episode, I think. No, there was something else Dee Dee does that I was thinking of.
That particular episode?
Yeah.
She gets pissed off at Mel. Oh, and then we learn about Gypsy having a Facebook account.
We do.
Which, didn't they have a joint Facebook account and then Gypsy made her own?
Yeah,
correct?
because remember at the mall she goes and she gets the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was like so nervous during that sequence. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Are you gonna break free?
Where did she get the money?
She was stealing it
from the checks coming in,
from the people who would mail them checks.
Yeah,
and
is that how they just lived?
No. So they would get disability payments.
Oh,
she would get payments to be her caregiver.
Oh.
And
I was wondering how they lived off that.
Well, and her dad was sending money even though Dee Dee was telling everyone that her dad was not helping.
No, he was an actual dad.
Like he actually wanted to be a part of her life, and Dee Dee would not let him.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say that Dee Dee would also force her to dress in like clothes that made her look younger, like brighter prints and all that sort of stuff.
Really ugly clothing, actually. I didn't like any of it.
Also would make her wear princess dresses.
Right.
And she had put her up for some award, like Child of the Year award.
That's a lot of pressure, especially when you know you're not sick. Can you imagine? Like being that age and having to fool everybody constantly just so that you don't get found out. Like, that's so stressful. I don't think
she knew she wasn't sick.
I think she knew at that point.
At that point, I think she did. But prior to that, I don't think she realized.
No. But when she was 17, she understood everything, I think.
And she finds a document that has her birth date on it in this episode, too, which causes her to question her mom about her age.
Right.
So, don't know how true that is. But she uses that Facebook account to start meeting boys. Boys. The thing that gets all teenage girls. A lot of teenage girls. Boys.
So, yeah, she creates a secret account.
In episode 3, Gypsy convinces Dee Dee to let her go to like a Comic-Con sort of event. Yeah. That's happening in town. And she lets her go. Gypsy dresses up like a princess, right? Yeah. A Disney princess.
Yeah.
Oh, this episode's titled Two Wolverines.
Two Wolverines.
So the main thing in this episode is there's like a guy who's hitting on Dee Dee, which, if that's true, it's shocking. And Gypsy runs into a man named Scott, who is dressed as Wolverine. and they begin like a texting relationship, which Gypsy takes to be a real relationship.
Yes.
And I don't know how much older Scott is.
I don't know.
But she has dentures at this time. Just want to add that.
Yes, she does.
She gets all of her teeth pulled out.
Yeah.
In the previous episodes.
Oh,
So
God,
bad.
it's horrible.
There's not a lot of like, I don't know. I didn't think there was like a ton of
No, there
stuff
wasn't
to
a
talk
lot
about
in
from
this
episode.
one. No, I was trying to think. I'm like, I don't.
It was mainly just about her like texting, finding the phone,
getting the computer, creating an account.
Yeah,
that kind of
and
thing.
doing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then texting with Scott and like building that sort of relationship. But I think it speaks a lot to like where their relationship is going and where Gypsy is going as far as like her victimization.
Sure.
And being with Dee Dee.
Yeah.
So Scott texts her saying that he's at the hospital because he got in a fight. Gypsy leaves the house, which I think this is a big thing.
Yeah, that's huge.
She goes out without a wheelchair and shows up, leaving Dee Dee a note that says your 19-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
So now Dee Dee knows that she knows.
Yep.
And so Dee Dee has to go on the defense again about like
19 at this point.
And this isn't even the end.
No.
Like,
God. See, I don't.
so she shows up at the hospital, I believe.
Yeah.
And, but in her mind, like, it also shows how childish she is, right?
Right.
Because she's saying, like, I'm going to marry my Prince Charming.
Right.
Your 19-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh.
Yeah, she's not there yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she shows up at the hospital and they go back to his house together.
Yeah.
Where they kiss, right?
I think so. I can't remember this one.
But Dee Dee has called to like some friends around because she's trying to figure out, she discovers the computer.
Right.
She discovers the phone.
Yeah.
And she's trying to figure out where her daughter went. And so someone is able to give her the address. I don't remember how she showed up, but she like gets his information and is able to show up, and she shows up at the house and forces Gypsy to come back, and it ends with her getting out of the car in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
In her wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm like, ah, damn.
Yeah.
So episode 4 is titled Stay Inside. And this goes 2 years into the future.
Yes.
So now we're in 2013. Take it away.
So Gypsy is starting to experience sexual feelings, and which is normal because she's 17, 19, whatever age she is right now.
Well, the other thing is that even with her fake birthday,
Right.
she's 18 years old.
Yes.
So this creates a huge problem for Dee Dee.
Yes.
Because that's like the main focus of this episode.
Focus. Yeah.
Is Dee Dee trying to figure out how to get guardianship
Yes.
over
Oh my
Gypsy
God.
so that she can continue to make medical decisions, because Gypsy is no longer going to want to consent to things that she doesn't need.
Doesn't think she needs. And
And
she doesn't.
doctors are no longer going to be, you know, like she's going to go see not a pediatrician.
Sure.
Right? Like you can't be 25
22,
years old with your mom in the room with you. Like
No, it doesn't work anymore.
things change.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the cognitive abilities
Yes.
that Gypsy has.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she learns from Lacey that Lacey met a boyfriend from online.
Right.
And so Lacey gives her the website. And that sparks all kinds of stuff for Gypsy. And sort of sets the stage for the remainder of Dee Dee's life.
Yeah, that's true. She finds a man, or how old is he? He's a man, I guess. He's a man named Nick, who I think he had split personality disorder. Was that confirmed, or did he just say that? He had some sort of mental disability. Maybe.
like thing.
Oh.
But I think like remember when he's going like the pizza shop? I'm not sure if it's this episode, but he's like looking for a job.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like put the pizza in. It's like too hot by the oven.
Right.
I want to say that was like a sensory thing.
Maybe. So she meets with Nick and online, and they're talking a lot. And
like every night.
Every single night, yeah. Or every night that she can. And he introduces her to BDSM, which is so crazy to just be like, your first sexual experience is to be BDSM. Like, I don't know. I think that's a lot to take in, especially as a young girl.
He was 23 when he
Okay.
met Gypsy.
Yeah. So, I mean, not that huge of an age gap difference, but there was obviously something wrong with him. I think that maybe that played into him actually committing the murder because he wasn't 100%. Like, I
know like the actor and in the show it's portrayed a lot like where even the thought of like setting up the murder
Right.
has to be to Victor, who's like his evil side.
Right.
And Victor will do it.
Right. So I don't know if is that a real thing? Or is that part of the show?
I'm not.
I don't know. I didn't look that up. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not okay. And I want to say that because I don't think he was mentally challenged, like I think maybe he would have thought about not doing the murder at first. You know? Like I'm just trying to piece together like both of them, because Gypsy she acted below her age. Like that, we know that. And then he is not. Like, she kind of made him get into this and then, like, made him do it. And she didn't do shit.
She didn't do anything?
Well, she didn't fucking, like, she just stood there while it was happening.
Again, it leaves me with so many complex feelings because, like, I feel for someone who had who felt like they had no choice, right? She had tried to leave and Dee Dee found her. She had tried to rebel and Dee Dee stopped it. Like she felt she had no other choice. And that makes me feel really sad for her. She could have left in the middle of the night and hopped on an Amtrak bus.
She could have.
You know, but then would Dee Dee have found her? You know what I mean? Like,
I think if she would have gone far enough away, she would have been okay. Like if she would have crossed state lines, it would have been a lot harder to find her.
I think it was sort of, for me, the feeling I got is like once they started talking about it, it sort of became like a shark like feeding frenzy and it just sort of like escalated from there.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I got.
Yes.
The psychologist said that after 2 mental evaluations on Nick Godejohn, he determined that the killer is on the autism spectrum with an IQ of 82 and the functionality equivalent to that of a 10-year-old.
Thank you. Okay, so you put it in medical terms. That sounds much better than what I was trying to say. Like, that shows
makes me feel even worse about Gypsy, though. Like, she's a master manipulator just like Dee Dee.
I think I don't think she's like Dee Dee. I don't think it's fair to put her in that same category. She did what she had to do to get the fuck out. And sometimes that takes a lot.
I mean, then she should have done it herself.
She should have. I 100% agree. But I don't think she was at the mental capacity where she could do that either. She wasn't acting like a 19-year-old. She was acting like a 14-year-old. Because that's what her mother wanted her to do.
Sad. Okay, well, anyway, so in this episode, we meet Nick, and they start their relationship, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Where it seems to quickly turn very sexual.
Yes.
I
was like, what is happening here?
It's not one you want to be watching with your mom.
No, it's really not. Yeah, and this is where Dee Dee finds Gypsy's laptop, too. And smashes it. And doesn't she say, like, I'll just get another one or something? Is that this episode? Yeah. Yep.
And I think this is also where Dee Dee hits Gypsy.
Yes.
And ties her to the bed.
And ties her to the bed. Yeah. But it seems like she had done that before from the way that the show portrayed it.
Yeah, like it was
Like
a regular punishment.
Yeah, like she knew to put her hands up. She knew when she was going to come in and release her. She knew everything about it.
Yeah, well,
like, that was creepy to me.
And Gypsy spits in her face.
Yeah.
Wow, you take that. That's sort of this episode. The other thing is that Dee Dee sort of manipulates and forces Gypsy into signing those guardianship documents, saying that she'll be able to protect her if the fraud is ever found out. So at this point, she's fully aware of what's happening. And everything seems to sort of be spiraling. And I forgot, Dee Dee gets diagnosed with diabetes, remember?
Yes.
Where Gypsy's having to give her the shots. And Dee Dee seems to be having some sort of complications with it too.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think she does. Like she gets bad.
Yeah. Probably isn't checking her sugars and all that stuff.
Probably not. Which is weird because she did that for Gypsy for so many years. Like check things and gave her medicines and pureed her food and did all that. Like,
oh my God. When she says let's order pizza and she puts the pizza in the blender, I was like, ugh. Gag.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Gag me with a spoon. So then the next episode 5, Plan B. This one hurts me because Gypsy devises this plan to have Nick come and visit her, but insist that the meeting has to be natural, or her mom won't like it.
Which I understand where she's coming from. I get that. She doesn't want it to be like, I already know this person.
Yeah.
Because then that would get smashed. So I understand where Gypsy's coming. But this also shows how immature she is, too.
And him.
I mean, yeah, it's true. Because, they both plan this thing, and you're like, you're supposed to be 19 years old. It's just, you're supposed to be past this. And yet, they had it all down to the T, and nothing went as planned.
Yeah.
Not one moment.
So the whole plan was that Nick was going to travel from Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin, down to Missouri on a bus. And he was going to meet them because they were going to she was going to get Dee Dee to take her to watch Cinderella in theaters. And she's like, I'll be wearing, a black shirt, I think?
No, I thought she was wearing her princess dress.
No. Dee Dee forces her to change into the princess dress. Oh. She wanted to look like a grown, wear regular clothes.
Yes.
And she forces her to wear the princess dress and put the wig on. And she did not want to.
But it's just this whole episode. You can tell the immaturity of both of them. It's just ugh.
So there's this whole plan that's devised that he's going to meet them at the theater, but he has to hold the door open and he has to say, what does he have to say? Do you remember?
Something about princesses don't open their own door.
A princess should never open their own door.
Yes.
And that's what he had to do when he held the door open. Well, she gets to the movie theater. They park. She's not wearing the outfit she said she would be wearing. Right. So she's already looking around, scanning endlessly. Everything. So obvious to Dee Dee.
All the time. Yeah.
She just keeps looking and looking and looking for him, and he's not there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, is he not going to show up?
Right. I was wondering that too. But he was just late, right?
What's going to, yeah. I'm like, what's going to happen? And then he shows up while they're at the counter getting snacks, walks up and goes, a princess should never hold their own door.
And Dee Dee's like, what the fuck?
Get away from us.
Right. Which I would be doing that too if some kid walked up to us and randomly said that. Yeah. Like, what the fuck are you doing? So I understand that. But that whole planning it down to each word is insane.
Very, very controlling.
Yeah.
So then they're in the movie theater, and because Gypsy has to be in her wheelchair, she doesn't need, he sits directly behind them in an empty theater.
Yep.
And he's right there.
Yeah.
And then they move to the other side, and he moves to the other side. And then this is the fun part. She gets up to go to the bathroom. Well, she tells her mom she's going to the bathroom. And he gets up to go to the bathroom. And they have sex on the bathroom floor.
Forgot about that.
I was like,
That's so gross. Yeah.
what
Right.
is happening?
Yeah.
What is happening right now?
That was
So,
a bit much.
so Gypsy loses her virginity.
Yep.
And that is, and Dee Dee doesn't find them. And I'm like, how the fuck does Dee Dee not find out?
I don't understand that either, because she's so controlling in every other aspect that I'm surprised she let her go to the bathroom for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming it would take longer to undress and do the deed and then dress again, versus just peeing. So, like, wouldn't she go and look for her daughter?
He was a virgin. It probably
Yeah, I guess.
didn't take
That long,
that long.
I'm just saying, like, that's why I added the undressing and then the deed and then the dressing back again. That takes time. I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah.
But I
don't
just,
know.
if she's so anal about everything and Gypsy just leaves to go to the bathroom for 20 minutes or whatever, I don't know how long.
7
minutes?
Maybe she had to poop.
Yep. And they also plan Dee Dee's death in this one, right? Plan B, right? They start talking about it.
Yeah, so she plants that seed and buys that knife.
Yes.
So the other thing that happens though is Nick calls Dee Dee and is like, says that he loves Gypsy. He's been in love with her for a long time.
Yep.
And Dee Dee again ties Gypsy's hands to the bed.
Yeah.
This is when, yeah. And she tells him, like, you need to have Victor kill my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get Victor.
And he agrees.
Yeah, he does.
And so Gypsy
I don't think he, like, agreed, though. Like, I don't think it's fair to be like, oh, he just agreed and everything was fine. I don't think he knew what he was agreeing to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
To put it that way.
There's a really sad quote that he does later, like years later in an interview, where he's like, I don't want people to think of me as this cold-blooded killer. Like, I'm a human and all humans make mistakes.
Right.
And, like,
which is true.
Like, I regret what I did.
Yeah.
I don't think he should be...
He shouldn't be in prison if she's not in prison.
I don't think so.
I think that's fucked up.
But I can also understand why he got longer, because he didn't get abused by her for her entire life.
Right.
Like Gypsy did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's completely different. Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard. I just think that because he had a lower IQ, I don't think he was given life, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he should have been given life. I think he should be able to get out on parole.
I agree.
She's out. I mean, why can't he be out?
Well, again, I think the argument there is that he didn't have, like, she had a
I know, but like,
I guess there's not a justifiable reason,
No,
but like a self-defense-y type reason.
Yeah.
And he had nothing other than, like, I loved this girl who told me to do it.
Right. But I mean, if you know that he's that type of way too, there's no way I would.
I love the way you're trying to tiptoe around it. If you know he's that type of way. I mean, if he's cognizant enough and competent enough to stand trial, then...
Yeah, but if he only was at the level of a 10-year-old, I mean, that's not fair. He should be put in a mental facility, not jail.
Well...
I'll write a letter.
Yeah, write a letter.
I'm going to.
I mean, if the Innocence Project will pick up Scott Peterson, maybe they'll pick up this guy too.
What the fuck?
He comes back.
Yes. Because she had to get time to buy the knife and plan all this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but this is where the like seed is really planted, and she buys a fishing knife.
Yeah. And if she was anyway like she was in the store, that was hilarious. She's like looking for this one specific knife, and the guy was telling her, and she picks up this like pink little thing that doesn't look like it's going to be able to do anything. So, I don't know. Like, that's another thing where I was like, really, Gypsy? Like, come on.
Oh, what did she say? Oh, my dad likes hunting.
Yeah.
Oh, what about this one? He likes fishing, too.
What the fuck?
Fucking Gypsy.
Yep.
All right, so number 6 is A Whole New World. You are going nuts on your finger right now. And this is all flashbacks.
Yes. Yes, I remember, because Dee Dee's mom wasn't the best either.
No.
Kind of passed down to generation. Yeah, and Dee Dee goes to jail.
Yeah.
And her mom watches Gypsy while she's in jail.
Oh my God, when her mom is dying, when Gypsy's grandma is dying, and Dee Dee just ignores it.
Yeah.
And lets her die, I was like...
Yeah, she's a hardcore bitch.
Whoa.
Yeah. But yeah, she was in jail. Would she check fraud and something else, wasn't it too? I don't know. Maybe
I believe it was just the check fraud.
Okay. She did it on purpose because the mom took Gypsy and didn't follow her exact instructions on how to raise her daughter and what hour by hour everything was supposed to be.
I feel like this is like such a case of like postpartum like anxiety or something, you know?
Yeah.
So she also finds out after Gypsy's grandma's death that she didn't give any of the letters or read any of the letters that she had written Gypsy from jail.
Right.
So that made her
kind of sad.
Really upset.
Yeah.
And I would understand that.
I'd be upset at that too.
Yeah.
If I was sitting in jail.
And then Gypsy falls off the trampoline, which like didn't even look that bad to me.
No, it was fine.
And this is when Gypsy gets put in the wheelchair.
Yes.
And she is like 6 years old.
Yeah. And she kept saying, I can walk. There's nothing wrong with me. Like, she just fell down.
But so that's like the flashback part of the episode. And then you go back to the present day portion of the episode where Dee Dee has been murdered. Nick did it. She's dead. And they've run from the house. Yeah. And so now they're on the run together. And they're in the hotel. And like, it pretty quickly to me seems like very interesting power dynamic happening in the relationship.
Yeah. It also seemed to me about how immature both of them were.
Absolutely.
The expectation versus the reality.
Yes.
100%.
And so they go to leave and they can't because Nick only bought one return ticket. So they have to, like, stay in the hotel another night.
Yeah.
And Gypsy is so worried about getting caught. Which I also think is really strange and, like, to me shows the different cognitive abilities. Because he doesn't seem to be worried about that at all.
No.
And she is fucking terrified. When the police walk in the diner.
Right.
And she almost, like,
loses it. Yeah, so she knows what she did was wrong. He doesn't. And that's another, like, he doesn't get it.
I don't think he doesn't because he admits saying that he regrets it. And
now he does, but back then, I don't think.
I think he was, like, so swept up in, like, being so in love with this girl.
Yeah.
That.
That's true. Maybe that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they wait 2 days and then they can finally leave to go on the plane or the train.
Yeah.
To get out of Missouri. Missouri. So then we're on to episode 7, Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes.
They get to Wisconsin and Gypsy is in for a rude awakening.
Yeah. And she keeps taking pills, like Xanax.
Oh, yeah.
Popping these, like, left and right.
Yeah. She's in for a rude awakening because Nick's mom is not Dee Dee. Nick's mom is more of, like, a regular mom.
Right.
Who doesn't do every single fucking thing and control every single fucking thing.
Right.
And she's like, what? Like, there's no dinner? Remember?
Right, yeah.
And like, he's like, oh, it's okay. Or like, what was it? Like a towel or something? I can't remember.
I don't remember, but
like the specific, but it was very much like,
oh my God.
What?
It's not all outlined for you?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And they told his family that, which also seems weird to me, if that truly was his cognitive ability, like, would you let him travel alone, like, through
but
multiple...
he is an adult.
That's really hard. Yeah.
You know? He's what, 23? Didn't we say that?
Yeah. Yeah. He's probably older there, 25.
Yeah. So, I mean, how much control can you have over somebody if they're your adult child, even if they do have a mental disability?
Yeah. So they had told her family that she was living in a homeless shelter because her mom had kicked her out, right?
Yeah.
And Nick's mom is like, maybe you should call your mom and just like try and work things out. And Gypsy just keeps lying.
Right.
And she's like, no, like this is unforgivable. She won't forgive me for it.
Oh, God, yes.
And then, I mean, it takes the police, like, not very long to...
No.
Well, actually, Gypsy feels like no one's going to find Dee Dee. Remember?
Right. Yes.
And so she starts posting a bunch of stuff from the Facebook page to try and get someone over there to find
on
Dee
their
Dee.
Shared Facebook page. Yeah.
To try... But it's, like, really vulgar stuff.
Vulgar, yes.
But she's trying to get someone to find Dee Dee because she still feels, like, bad.
Right.
About no one knowing.
Right.
But I think the neighbors had said that they thought it was weird that their car was outside, but like no one was answering for many days.
Yeah. They did seem concerned. Like the mom was concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's crazy that how when they discover her mom, when they discover Dee Dee, everyone's so worried. There was like a whole, I read this entire like Reddit thread about how the entire town thought that this disabled girl had been like kidnapped.
Right.
And it was like,
because how could you not, if she was in a wheelchair her whole life, like how would she escape?
Knew.
Yeah.
No one knew.
Insane.
And that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Like an entire fucking town. An entire town.
Yeah. Yeah, and then because they've been on TV and been winning these things and people are donating to them. Like,
she had even gone on Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Insane.
God damn. How do I convince Make-A-Wish to send my family to Disney? I'm just kidding. That joke was in such bad taste.
I'll take that up.
Because people truly deserve that.
Oh, yeah.
But like...
For sure. But yeah. But they do find her pretty quick.
Yeah. So once after the Facebook comments are posted, they
run over there.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
They break in through the window and they see that there's a body. But that's when they're like, where's Gypsy?
Right.
And then Lacey's like, oh, she has a secret Facebook.
Yeah.
And so the police are able to put things together very, very quickly from there. They find that the IP address of where these Facebook comments were posted. And then the police show up. The local police show up to to Nick's home in Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then they get arrested from there.
Can you imagine being that guy's mom? Like, the cops show up to arrest you for murder. No. You're like, what the fuck? I thought my kid was like happy that he was had a girlfriend, like just sweet and innocent.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And then so the last episode is free, and I find it interesting that it's called Free when she's going into prison, you know?
Yeah, she's
but
not free.
I know that she says herself, like, she felt more free in prison than she did in any of her life with her mom.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make your own decisions in prison. Not like, but you can do things. You can talk to people, you can make friends, you can try drugs if you want. Like, there's all these different things that she can do that she couldn't do before. Not necessarily good things, but she did spend her time pretty well in jail.
Yeah. Like, I know she did, like I said earlier, a lot of therapy and stuff. So the whole thing on this is, like, it goes through the legal case. Okay. And so she's trying to get her medical records, which her mom had been saying this entire time that they were destroyed in Hurricane Katrina, which is not true.
Yeah.
And so she calls her dad and is like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why were you such a shit dad? And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I wasn't allowed to see you. Dee Dee wouldn't let me see you.
And he has remarried and then have a child, a daughter.
Correct. Rod even, like, her dad shows her pictures of them, like happy pictures of them from when they were kids, from when she was a kid. And her lawyer, like, the important thing is her lawyer is trying to get them tried separately. That's
just the ending.
That's pretty much it. It's just her going through, and, like, Lacey won't visit her in jail. And so, like, the whole thing that started her separation from her mom, right, was Lacey. Yeah. And, like, having a girlfriend. And now that she's done what she's done, she won't even visit her.
Yeah.
And so, like we've already said, Nick got life and Gypsy got 10 years.
10 years.
Which she served 80% of, I think. 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah. So now
she's released, and she got married in jail. Why did the people let her do that? And now she's being released and going straight to him and starting a whole new life without finding herself first.
I'm gonna say it.
What?
He looks like Dee Dee.
Yeah, he does. Oh, I didn't even think of that.
He looks like
He does look like Dee Dee. I just think it's really sad that she got married and now she's living with her husband. I mean, I wish them the best and I hope they're happy, but I just don't see that lasting. They don't know each other. She doesn't even know herself yet.
I mean, how can you say she doesn't know herself?
She doesn't.
How do you know? She's a 33-year-old lady.
Yeah. Who hasn't had life experiences.
I mean, I've never experienced jail.
I
know myself. That's like a terrible... That's like a terrible analogy. Yeah. But, like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like,
I get it, but I just don't think she's, like, fully aware of her own aurora. I don't know.
It's called an aura.
Aura. That's what I was looking for.
Her own aurora. Yes, her own sleeping beauty. She's not aware. Oh, man.
I just think that she should have, like, her dad and her stepsister and her stepmom are 100% back her. Like, they were saying the room is ready for her to come in when she gets out of jail, and then she gets married and moves in with this other guy. It's just a lot.
I mean, I agree, but I don't pay her bills or...
No, that's true.
Make any of those decisions, so... Yeah. Who am I to tell her?
That's another thing. She's got murder on her background. So, like, what is she going to do for a job?
And it's not just, like, a murder, right? Like, it's such a well-known...
Yeah.
No. It's such a well-known case, knows, It's not like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but, like, there's a ton of fucking murders that we never hear about.
Sure.
One happened in our town a few years ago.
Yeah.
One happened
not that long ago.
Yeah, the domestic violence one. Yeah. And, like, no one ever hears about that. No. You know what I mean?
I heard about it on the Facebook group, and that was it. Not the news or anything. Like, yeah.
No one. So, like...
But yeah, knows.
Everyone knows who Gypsy Rose is. Not everyone, but a lot of people know who Gypsy Rose is. So many so that her having any sort of semblance of, like, a normal, quote-unquote, life is gone. Yeah. It's always been gone, right? Dee Dee never gave her the chance to have a normal childhood, normal life. and now she'll live with this forever, you know?
Which has got to be tough.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So
I wish her the best.
Wish her the best.
The act was cool.
It was a good it was a good show. I enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to like it at first. I don't know why. I have no idea. I just judge things right off the bat. But it sucked me in. And then I was just watching one after another.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I got to take a break from this. Like, she's like overwhelming me. So I took a break and then we went back. But
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. It's been out for a few years now. But like, if you haven't seen it,
it's good.
I recommend it. It's very entertaining, if nothing else. You feel like being entertained.
Yeah.
I sort of like, the thing I like the most is like, it didn't spend a ton of time on the abuse and everything.
Right.
It really showed like how Gypsy like became strong enough. Which is weird to say.
Yeah.
But like became aware enough of what was happening and how weird it was.
Right.
And how she needed to do something to like rescue herself from that weirdness, you know? Mm-hmm. So
I see that.
I thought that was interesting.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at
The Murder Mamas.
Facebook,
The M Mamas.
Twitter,
The Murder Mamas.
email,
TheMurderMamas@gmail.com.
and if you like us and are happy with our content, please leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We would appreciate it. Bye.